Hey there, focused learners, and welcome to today's Explainer. If you've ever looked at a towering, wildly successful company and thought, how in the world was that built from the ground up without totally collapsing? Well, you are in exactly the right place. Here's a crazy fact for you. 20% of new businesses literally fail in their very first year. And why? Because they don't have a structural blueprint. So today, we're diving into a massive 21-chapter masterclass called The Architect of Enterprise, a masterclass in modern business. Consider this your ultimate blueprint. We're going to cut through all that overwhelm right now and show you step-by-step how to systematically construct your business from the ground up.
Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The entrepreneurial mindset. 2. Validating your business idea. 3. Structuring your business foundation. 4. Sales, marketing, and systems. 5. Scaling and avoiding pitfalls. And finally, number 6, your 90-day action plan.
All right, let's jump right into section 1, the entrepreneurial mindset, digging the foundation.
So, before we even think about pouring any concrete, we really need to address the elephant in the room. What is the actual difference between an entrepreneur and a businessman? We tend to toss these words around like they mean the same thing, right? But as the masterclass points out, making this distinction early on is absolutely crucial to understanding your real role in your own company. And it really boils down to this contrast. The entrepreneur, they're the visionary. Their whole focus is on disruption, innovation, and taking calculated risks to solve unaddressed market problems. They're the ones out there drawing up wild new blueprints. The businessman, on the flip side, is the operator. They focus on the day-to-day operations, optimizing existing markets, and really maximizing that bottom line. The thing is, as you build your enterprise, you absolutely need the innovator spark to get the project off the ground, but you've got to have the operator's discipline to make sure the building survives the winter, So, to pull off both of those roles, you need a very specific mental bedrock. You need a growth mindset, because you have to constantly learn. You need extreme discipline. Look, motivation is great, but motivation is fleeting. Discipline is what actually gets the framing up. You need risk management to calculate your leaps and emotional intelligence to lead your team. But honestly, above all else, you need resilience after failure. Actually, if you look at the most successful founders out there, their first companies usually totally tanked. Resilience isn't just about, bouncing back. It's about doing an autopsy on your structural failures so you never make the same engineering mistake twice.
Which brings us to section 2, validating your business idea, pouring the concrete.
So the huge takeaway here is that you don't just guess what people want. You scientifically pour the concrete of your idea using this zero-to-launch sequence. Step 1, identify actual market problems. Step 2, dig into researching deep customer needs, like what is literally keeping them awake at night. Step 3, estimate your market size to make sure there's actually room to grow. Step 4, validate with that target audience before you spend a single dime. And finally, step 5, narrow down and choose your specific niche. If you skip any of these steps, you're just creating air bubbles in your concrete, and I promise you it will crack under pressure.
Moving right along to section 3, structuring your business foundation, erecting the framework.
I know, legal jargon can be completely intimidating, but let's demystify it for a second, because each one of these requirements acts as a load-bearing pillar for your entire enterprise. Your business registration, that's not just annoying paperwork. It establishes your official legal entity, which separates you from the business. Licenses basically grant you permission to exist. Trademarks are like the deadbolts on your doors. They protect your brand identity. Business insurance is your fire suppression system shielding you from crazy liabilities. And contracts? Contracts are the welded joints that dictate the exact terms of every single relationship you build.
But here's the thing. A solid legal framework means nothing without financial integrity. Let's look at this critical juxtaposition, because here's a little secret about survival. Revenue is the total amount of money your company brings in. It's your top line. It's exciting, it's flashy, it looks great on paper. But profit? Profit is what is actually left over after all the expenses, the taxes, the costs are paid. Profit is your survival. Aspiring owners make this mistake all the time. They confuse vanity metrics like revenue with structural integrity, which is profit. You could have millions in revenue, but if your expenses are higher, your building is already bankrupt.
Let's move to section 4, sales, marketing, and systems, installing the utilities.
As the masterclass emphasizes, marketing is fantastic for bringing people to your front door. But mastering sales psychology, that is the only way you actually invite them inside and keep them coming back. And we're not talking about aggressively pushing a transaction here. True sales mastery is the study of how to build genuine trust, how to navigate human objections with empathy, and how to create a mutually beneficial close. So, if marketing is your flashy exterior,
Sales psychology is that warm, inviting lobby that makes people want to stay.
And because you literally cannot run the utilities of a massive skyscraper manually, you need a modern tech stack. You've got to install these technological utilities early on, or you're going to completely burn out doing manual work. Think about it. Artificial intelligence and automation act as your 24/7 staff. Your CRM manages your customer relationships. Your accounting software keeps that all-important profit visible. Project management tools keep your contractors in line. And cybersecurity, that is your top-tier alarm system. Install all of this early, and the building practically runs itself.
Next up is Section 5, Scaling and Avoiding Pitfalls, Adding the Penthouse.
30. 30. According to the masterclass, that is the exact number of catastrophic yet incredibly common mistakes new business owners make as they try to scale up. That's 30 different ways to accidentally demolish your own building right when you're starting to see some real success.
We've gone ahead and distilled the absolute most fatal of those 30 mistakes right here. Expanding into new markets before your core product is perfectly solid. Hiring bodies just to fill seats without defining a company culture first. Ignoring your daily financial statements. And remember what we said, profit is survival. Failing to delegate, which basically turns you into the biggest bottleneck in your own company. And finally, neglecting your daily habits. Yes, skipping the gym or doom scrolling on your phone instead of learning will literally crack your penthouse glass just as surely as signing a bad franchise deal.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 6, your 90-day action plan, moving in.
All right, here is your master timeline. Day 1 starts today. You validate your idea and you research your market. Please do not build without a plan. By day 30, you solidify your legal framing, get the business registered, and finalize your business plan. By day 60, you're installing those utilities, your marketing, your tech stack, your CRM, and you start your pre-launch phase. And by day 90, you open the doors. You launch, you apply that sales psychology to get those first vital customers, and then you optimize based on their feedback. Becoming an architect of enterprise really is just a matter of following this exact blueprint, week by week.
I want to leave you with this final, powerful thought straight from the masterclass. Success isn't an accident, it's an architecture. Think about that. You don't just stumble into building a billion-dollar company. You design it, you engineer it, and you build it through relentless, consistent action. The blueprint is right here in front of you. The tools are in your hands. So the only question left to answer is, are you ready to lay your first brick? Thanks so much for joining me on this Explainer, Focus Learners. Take this blueprint, get out there, and go build something absolutely incredible.